Time is now 3:32. I call to order the meeting of the Ways and Means Committee. Copy of the agenda for this meeting may be found on the county website under the tab for the legislature. Please silence your phones and devices. At this time, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Benton.
Here.
Luhan. Duke.
Here.
O'Donnell. Cheney.
Here.
Fagion.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Vice President Swett.
Thank you. Okay, first up, Matt, are you gonna?
Yes.
To the county attorney's office? Okay, we have a request to approve the release of the county's interest in and to certain deed sale parcels to the previous owners of record. A final list will be submitted at the legislative meeting, request number 045. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Benton, Duke. Okay, can you highlight that, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a fairly common thing, as you all know. We have a local law that allows people to tender payment of delinquent taxes after we take judgment, but before the auction, so that we may approach the court and vacate the judgment, put the property back in their name, and these people did pay for this house, so I would ask that the committee approve the request so we can move forward with this vacature judgment.
Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Mr. Davidian, probation. Okay, he's running late. Okay, we'll skip over, go to Mr. Ewald, Commissioner of Parks and Recreation. Travis, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, first up, request supplemental appropriation to the capital project budget for the paving of various park locations. This is a combination of projects which are a rehabilitation of an existing facility and do not exceed any of the thresholds in section 6 NYCRR Part 617.4 and are determined to be type 2 actions as defined in section 615.5C 1 and 2 of 6 NYCRR Part 617 and unlisted actions with a determination of no significant adverse environmental impacts. This is proposed capital project number 107 in the 2025 capital plan. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. $500,000 bonding, request number 044. I have a motion, please.
So moved.
Benton, second, please.
I'll say.
Nobody wants to spend money.
No, I was,
No, that's fine.
I don't want to interfere with Paul. I
Okay.
don't remember whether he.
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is capital for proposed paving within various parks facilities. Included in this project would be paving a pedestrian path at Thomas Bowl Memorial Park from the lower parking lot by the lodge down, running parallel to the access road and continuing generally parallel to Grove Street all the way out to the Arboretum. Also paving the access road from 416 up around the lodge and down to the intersection of Grove Street by where the horse riding ring is. We have paving intended for the remainder of the Hickory Hill maintenance garage area, along with cart paths of 11 and 12 at Hickory Hill Golf Course, and the D&H Canal Park access road and parking area.
Anybody have any questions?
I forgot to ask yesterday, basically how wide is the,
The pedestrian path,
yeah,
it's still being, the details are being fleshed out in the secret document. We allowed it up to 10 feet wide. We may make it a little bit narrower than that,
Okay.
to deter vehicular access onto there,
Right.
but it's.
Poles, certain places to keep vehicles from getting on it and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Very good. Anybody else? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? One abstention. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Next up, Eric Dananga, Commissioner of Department of Public Works, Ryan McGuire, Deputy Commissioner, and Brian Titsworth, Deputy Commissioner. Welcome, gentlemen. So all of these went through yesterday, Barry?
Yes.
Start with letter A. Request supplemental appropriation of funds from Cromline Creek Fund Balance to the Cromline Creek Pump Station Rehabilitation Project. This will modify existing capital project number 539. These funds will be utilized for project contingency, and any unutilized funds will be returned to the fund balance at the completion of the project. 175,000, request number 028. I'm just going to highlight this one. Oh, sorry, we get a motion first.
So moved.
We've got in front of you a number of times discussing the ARPA funding, which primarily will be funding this project, the Cromline Creek Pump Station over in Chester. This funding is purely just the contingency that we did not want to put into ARPA because we didn't want to take the risk of not spending it. We may or may not spend contingency money that's built into the construction contract. If we don't spend it, we wouldn't want to lose it if we had ARPA funds allocated for it. This way, if we don't use it, it can just go right back into the fund balance for the district, if that's the case, and if we use it, we use it.
Very good. Any questions?
I should have asked yesterday. So is the 1.5 million the ARPA funds?
No, the ARPA funds are actually about 3.2 million.
Oh, okay. So the 1.5 million is just the general fund balance.
That is the initial ask for ARPA. I think we had 1.5 million. Late last year, we added the balance based on the bid opening that we had. And that may not be assigned to the specific capital project
Yeah.
quite yet, but it will be.
Okay, so that is the ARPA money.
Yeah, so this was the balance after adding that. This is currently available in the project, so, but invoices received at the end of the year would.
Okay, that's all. So it is basically the ARPA money. That's fine.
Correct.
So what total are we up to now in this then?
About
3.3, 3.4.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to letter B. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for highway paving. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 51 for 500,000 bonding. The balance of 2,100,000 is from state consolidated local street and highway improvement program CHIPS. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. This is a type 2 action as defined in section 617.5C, 1, 2, and 5. $500,000 bonding, request number 050. Get a motion, please. Tom? Lee? Okay.
This is a typical annual ask, regular highway paving program. We normally would come in closer to 1.2, $1.3 million in bonding. This year, we're doing 500,000 because we're going to do the balance of that in CHIPS. We have made an effort in our office to do more, to allocate CHIPS funding to more of a larger projects to alleviate some of the administrative burden on our office. Processing CHIPS, it also helps give the state some reassurance that we're spending the money quickly and getting reimbursed quicker. So it makes that whole process a little bit better and just easier on our end. We typically do about 20, 25 miles of resurfacing highways. So And these funds will go to the various types of highway resurfacing projects that we'll have for the year. And I believe a list, Ryan sent a list based on yesterday's meeting. There was a question on which roads, and I believe a list was sent out.
Yes, it was. I received it. I'm assuming everybody did.
Okay, any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Kaminga.
So the 2.1, you know you're gonna use that, and it's 500. If you don't use it, you're not gonna be able to bond it. You've got the approval to bond, but if you don't need it all, you'll only bond the amount that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. If we don't use all the 500,000, we're bonding.
Okay, I just don't want you.
Correct, that's- No, they bond usually, it's kind of after the fact.
Okay.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to letter D. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for buildings and grounds motor equipment replacement. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number.
Skip one.
Well, we gotta do C. Oh, sorry.
Just saying if
What I do? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Okay, we'll go on to C. Request supplemental appropriation. That's quite expensive. I was gonna hold off on that one. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for the courthouse HVAC equipment replacement. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 22. Under approval, a new capital project will be created. These activities constitute a type 2 action under seeker section 617.5C1 of NYCRR part 617, requiring no further environmental review, $1,400,000 bonding, request number 051. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Tom?
I'll second.
So
Okay.
this is the courthouse, right, the main courthouse right next door here to this building. It's mainly for HVAC equipment, 2 chillers with ancillary equipment, as well as 2 boilers and ancillary equipment. The building was built in 1999. So we do have some aging infrastructure there that's definitely needing replacement.
Any questions?
Yeah,
I know we.
the older part of the courthouse,
Yes.
I know we had asbestos issues in there in the beginning. Is there any asbestos left on the old part or any of these heating equipments from the original?
I think you're referring to this building, the older part of this building, the asbestos was in for Division 3. So this building was totally stripped out and clean. The other courthouse was built in 1999.
Yeah, it was brand new.
98.
Right.
So that's not asbestos.
Then it's okay.
They stopped using asbestos in the late 70s.
Okay.
What was that guy's name?
Huh? We stopped the meeting because of that. So,
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
uh,
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to letter D. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for a buildings and grounds motor equipment replacement. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 23. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. These activities constitute a type 2 action under seeker, section 617.5C31 of NYCRR.617, requiring no further environmental review. 140,000 bonding, request number 052. Have a motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Fagione,
Second.
Benton.
All right, these are to replace 2 vehicles within the building and grounds division of DPW. One is replacing a 2011 Ford pickup with 116,000 miles on it, and then the other 2011 Ford van with about 150,000 miles on it. The van to be used at the government center and the pickup truck for the jail.
Questions?
Yeah, I asked yesterday about this, right? Because you said the 2 vehicles for 140. You told me the major truck with the plow, right, was worth 70. The van is worth 70 about too?
With some
What's in
racks,
the van?
it probably will not be, but the vans that we bought are fully outfitted with racks, ladder racks. They're also all-wheel drive, so we can respond to any weather. So they are up in the neighborhood of 60,000+ for our old pricing. We bought the 3 that are out there currently.
Okay, it's just, I understood about the new truck, the plow. Just saying in my head, a van can't be 70 grand. I mean, I know trucks are expensive.
Yeah, like I said, the van has some options also, so it's safe and efficient for the employees to work.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to letter E. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for building equipment replacement and installation. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 29. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. These activities constitute a type 2 action under seeker. Section 617.5C1 of NYCRR part 617, requiring no further environmental review. 150,000 bonding, request number 053. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Fagione. Jordy Benton. Okay,
This is for building equipment replacement in various buildings around the county, mainly HVAC, electrical, low voltage, water distribution, some heating and cooling loops and control valves in a couple of locations, and air conditioning split units in locations as well.
any questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to letter F. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for asbestos and lead removal. This project has been approved under the 25 capital plan as project number 27. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. These activities constitute a type 2 action under the seeker section 617.5C1 of NYCRR part 617, requiring no further environmental review. $50,000 bonding, request number 054. Have a motion, please. Fagione.
Asbestos and lead removal, this isn't typically an annual ask for us. We do have a little bit of money typically left over from previous year. Our main use for this leading into this year into next year is going to be for the Goshen DPW garage and windows and roof replacement there. That's an older building, relatively large building. So we'll look to have our asbestos remediation contractor go in there and at least let us know what's in there. We haven't really analyzed it yet. But we'll use certain funds to go in there and figure out if there's window or anything in the roof that might be asbestos, and then we'll typically look if we can remediate that ahead of time of doing regular contract for replacing the windows and roof. That's going to be the majority of it. And then also for any on-call work that comes up during the course of the year.
So that's basically just a flat roof tar?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Right, you look into it to see if we did a study on totally, and you told me you were working on it, right? A complete study of the county buildings where, so we can make maybe a contract to save some money instead of doing a piecemeal.
Yeah, we generally know where, for the DPW buildings, where our asbestos is in those buildings, but we haven't done something countywide as far as that included all.
So we asked for that 2 years back. We were doing, I think when we were doing it at the state hospital. We did that, I know there's some concerns there.
Yeah, and we generally, when we are doing a project, we look then sometimes it doesn't make sense to disturb it until you're doing a project, because sometimes if you're gonna disturb it where employees are, it's a big disturbance to move everybody out.
We were doing that,
Right.
Division 3.
Yes, so it's, we do it just as it comes along, but we'll work on getting a more of a comprehensive list together. Luckily a lot of our buildings are newer now, so we don't have concerns.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to letter G. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for building capital improvements. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 28. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. These activities constitute a type 2 action under secret section 617.5C1 of New York CRR part 617, requiring no further environmental review. $350,000 bonding request number 055. Motion, please. Fagion. Second, anybody?
Second.
Benton?
We typically come in each year for asking for money for building capital improvements. We do have some money left over from the previous year. We do have a large project being the main courthouse here, roof replacement. So that we believe is going to be in excess of 700,000. So with this 350 plus money is left over. Previously, we had allocated some money from this fund for the jail pump station screener. It's something that's going to be help the village of Florida with the quality of wastewater that goes to their facility for treatment out of our jail. So that an example of how we utilize some of this money, but we do have this year marked for the courthouse here, the main courthouse in Goshen.
What's the total that you have left over? To cover
You know, that
everything?
number is
Yeah.
it's over 300, right?
Yeah, we have 350 from last year and we have 123 from 2023.
Yeah, we
And
think,
you're doing the whole roof?
Yeah, we're rehabbing. That'll be. we'll be
You
able to
say rehab, I mean, you're doing the whole roof?
Yes.
Commissioner, when can we expect that screen to be actually put into play?
June, July,
We've got, yeah, June or July ship date.
it's on, everything's ordered, we have a contract, it's been ordered, equipment's been ordered, it's a lead time, we're waiting on for the equipment to get delivered.
That's good news. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, if no other, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Okay, on to letter H. Request supplemental appropriation to the capital projects budget for ADA improvements. This project has been approved under the 2025 capital plan as project number 30. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. These activities constitute a type 2 action under seeker section 617.5C1 of NYCRR part 617, requiring no further environmental review. $50,000 bonding, request number 056. Motion. Mr. Paduk, Mr. Fagion.
Or again, this is some money that we typically come back for each year, so we have money available to address ADA compliance issues as we need to throughout the year. We can often do some of that with our in-house staff from building and grounds. We are currently, as I mentioned last night, performing an ADA, countywide ADA study of 58 of our locations, mainly the public-facing ones to start with. We are starting to get those reports in. We're 75% of the way through the building surveys that the consultant's doing for us. And a portion of those reports have come in, and we're going to be looking at some significant improvements through this study. Dollar figures definitely in the millions of dollars that we'll implement over the next several years. But immediately, we're going to hit anything out of that report that we can with our own staff, and this money will help do that right away. And then we'll probably put something out to bid for some of the larger projects after that.
Any questions?
So a lot of it is anything outside, like ADA walkways where you need to put ramps in? Yeah, a lot of that.
There's a
I
little.
mean, how many can we get out of
There's some of that.
amount?
Well, yeah, this will just start, but like Eric said, we're gonna have to come back in for more money.
Once the study.
Once
Yeah,
it's started, we organize, different levels of, need for, to prioritize.
Is that toilet in this funding, Brian?
Working on this, we're gonna have those in there hopefully by the starting time.
You got about a week to go.
I know. Just looking at those dates.
Yes.
The study shouldn't be so hard to update. I mean, we had a complete one done in 1999. I don't think we've added too many buildings except here.
Yeah, but the codes change also.
Well, yeah, but the schedule and the buildings are there. Codes can change, but the concept and the buildings.
Yeah, they're moving through it pretty quickly. I mean, they'll have it done within like 5 months or so, I think, period,
Oh, okay.
beginning to end.
Right.
And
Oh, okay.
yeah, they only started it about 3 months ago, I think. And like I said, about 75% of the way through.
If you do the ramps first, if it's inside work, I mean, they can't get in anyway, so it's Doesn't make much sense to fix the inside if you can't do
Oh, yeah, we'll strategize any work that, sequencing the way we need to. We group bids together, phase things out as necessary, so we're not displacing too many employees at one time. So we'll have, once we get that full report, we're gonna have to come up with a plan to implement. We'll
Okay.
certainly be back here to ask for the money and go over that plan.
We got plenty of that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That's the end of that page. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have, Paul Wiley, real property. Patricia,
Hello.
hello, how are you?
I don't look like Paul.
I didn't see Paul, but you. Okay.
He's at a conference. So we only have
Triangle.
one parcel. We've already actually, in May of 2024, accepted a bid previously from a different person for $360. So this bid is at $400, which is the minimum that we were asking for. It's 0.5 acres. In
Is
a
that little triangle?
Yeah, so it's when the thruway went in the 50s, and it separated a lot of lots, and we end up with little funky triangles. And the actual main parcel is on the opposite side of the road that it came from. So it's a 2-acre minimum in the Reservoir Residence District, so it's not really worth much. So the $400 bid covers all of our back taxes.
The owner next to it?
It is not, it's nobody near it. I already looked at that, yes. It's just a random bidder,
Someone picks up. Interesting.
yes. Okay.
Hoping to sell it to the person next door.
Well, that's probably exactly what's
Yes.
happening.
What's our process gonna be here, Betsy? Do we have to,
There has to be a motion to accept the recommendation to accept.
okay,
the
so
bid.
it'll be, that's when we're gonna go with 400, any other questions?
Yeah, did we contact the other owners around it?
We
usually do that.
Yes, we do that
Yeah,
prior,
interesting.
and nobody came forward. So, yeah,
That's crazy.
sometimes they don't, sometimes they do.
Look for that figure.
I know, just add to your property, why not?
Might get it and pay taxes on it.
That's the other way to look at it. There's two.
Especially
camps.
if nobody cares whether you're using it or not.
Well, that could be too.
Too bad you can't put a toll on the thruway to go past you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Generate some money.
Then we can keep it.
Anybody care to make a motion to,
move.
Second.
that was quick and easy. Bet and Cheney, we're selling it.
Exactly.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Was a person from around here or just some never?
No, it says Newburgh. It's right on the front, Mike.
What's right?
Is it on front?
Newburgh.
Yep.
I'm not sure where Angelina Alley is, but
We're good.
Okay, next up, Andrew Concanon, Deputy Commissioner of Finance.
Sure.
Mr. Mark as well as coming up.
Just for the first, for A, in case you have any questions.
All right, so letter A is a request supplemental appropriation to the Finance Department budget to appoint special district attorneys on the case of People versus Edward V. Holly, as per an order of the Honorable James McCarty. AJSC funding for this is to come from contingency, $300,000, request number 058. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
second.
Cheney, Benton? Will you highlight this, please?
Okay, sure. So this is the third time that we've come to you for supplemental appropriation for this court case. And I've asked Chris to come up in case you guys have any questions regarding it. I know trial is expected to begin soon, but we're looking at $300,000 for any of any attorney fees and payments since we got court ordered.
Mr. Cheney,
So what's that bring the total to?
In '23, we spent about 323,000. Last year, 408, so a grand total of 731,582.64.
That's over the last 2 years, right? 23,
Or, yeah,
24.
it was about a half a year in 23 and full year 24.
Did that money come from contingency too?
Yes, it did.
So this is an emergency thing. That's really what contingency money's for, right?
Yeah, I mean, Deb sets aside some money just in case. This is not budgeted.
Unanticipated.
It's not controlled.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. It's not budgeted. You don't have a budget line for,
No, we're requesting it from contingency to move to finance so that we can pay for new invoices coming through.
And this isn't a change of attorneys. This is just the ones that were appointed in the
Continuation.
beginning. It's the work that they're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we expect this will bring us to at least trial point?
stretch it out. Stretch it
My
out.
understanding is that the trial is going to start sometime in March or April, late March or early April.
It's just a big one.
You sure you don't need more money than that?
I
Easy.
will probably be back, but last year we looked for 1 million and we only spent 408,000. So I think we're being a little, it goes up to fund balance, the balance, but yeah, we're just trying to be a little conservative. I'm sure we'll be back.
Yeah, so this 300,000 is to cover expenses in 2025?
Correct.
And this is the funds because the man can't pay himself, right? It's the-
No, this is, so what happened was these two private attorneys were appointed as special prosecutors. So we fairly regularly get special prosecutors. I actually just made a request this morning for one. Typically, another district attorney's office handles it, but they don't charge us for those services. In this particular case, after looking at the felony complaint, we couldn't find a district attorney's office who was willing to take the case. So we'd asked 8 offices, they all turned us down. So the administrative judge suggested that they appoint these 2 attorneys. And then as part of the judge's order appointing those attorneys, the judge ordered that the county pay, their expenses pertaining to the case. I guess it's pursuant to 7015 of the county law. So typically, we don't see this because typically we can get another DA's office to do it. In this case, we couldn't get a DA's office to do it.
So that's what's costing us all this money.
Right.
We gotta send those, come on, help us.
Well, yeah, I think,
Don't ask for our help. then. Not getting it.
I think this was,
Good point.
I think the procedural posture of this case was a little different, but we
Yeah.
had no control over that. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
So
Chairman?
if we give you this, obviously, we're gonna give you the 300, because we have no choice, but that leaves almost 500 and some odd $1,000 left, because you've only spent 700, you said?
Well, we have to reappropriate it each year. Whatever
So the bill-
we've asked for that we don't spend goes into fund balance.
Yeah, but we've given you $1 million so far, haven't we?
I believe in 23 was 500,000 and we spent 323. And in last year, we asked for 1 million and spent 408, so the balances go up to fund balance.
Okay. And now, I assume these attorneys send the bills to your office or to Mr.
Yes,
Borak, or
to
how-
finance, and Kerry reviews them and signs off on. And if she has any questions, she follows up with the attorneys.
Is there an attorney review, Chris?
Not really. We're out of the case. So the only extent we get involved is if they need something where they need advice about kind of local practice, same way we would do if the Attorney General's office was doing something here. But we can't really look over their shoulder and see if we would do something the same as them or different. I don't know anything specific about what they're doing. I can tell you that in general, there's very often an outlay of money getting ready for trial. And then once that money is spent, you don't have to re-spend it when you're actually at trial. So to the extent that they're looking at expert witnesses and that kind of things, I would imagine the bulk of that probably was spent by them already. And they've made their decisions about what to do with that.
Okay, but there's no oversight from any attorney.
Right, because we don't have any Right, we were taken out of the case
I understand.
under
that.
the,
Just
so
thought
under the
something.
appearance, but there's no way we can really, check.
And is the hourly rate set by the judge of the prosecutors, the special
The
prosecutors?
hourly rate was set, I think, between the county and them, through the auspices of the county attorney's office, but I think it was 300 an hour. It's a fairly, it's not in my opinion, it's not an exorbitant rate that they're paying per hour for the attorney's time.
Thank you.
Each attorney.
Each attorney, but part of the agreement was that they would not double bill. So in other words, if there's, if they're interviewing a witness, they're not gonna have both attorneys interviewing the same witness. They were trying to, break it up, so one would do it and the other. And I've been dealing with questions from them on various things, because it's tough when you're working in another county. And as near as I can tell, I have no reason to believe that they're padding their bills or, doing anything other than acting honorably.
Chairman?
So if Andrea, you or Carrie had a question, you could go to the county attorney for review of something, right?
Yes.
That wouldn't be a conflict, right?
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, go for a sales tax update.
Yes, I think Carrie's jealous that I'm here with all this good news, because for the last few months, we have been trending way under plan. In fact, at the end of January, we were 3.8 million under plan. And February really came through for us that we're happy to report that we're $168,682.50 over plan, 0.06%. So it looks like December, the county did very well, absolutely. So very pleased,
It's good news.
phenomenal news.
Is there gonna be a supplemental payment to the municipalities?
That's a very good question. So the municipalities are paid out on a cash basis, and their calendar year starts February 1st through January 31st. So at the end of January, they were 98.78% of plan. So they will not be getting a supplemental appropriation, but these February payments are applied to 2025. So with 2025, they're already well over $1 million compared to this time last year. So their first payment, if everything proceeds, should be a bit larger than last year's.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Next up, we have Dean Messina, Deputy Budget Director, for a budget update.
Hello, and Deb also apologizes for not being here, but, so I believe you all have our monthly report, which is through December of 2024. It's basically too early to start reporting on 2025 because all of our departments have been focusing on finalizing 2024 and are just setting up their 2025 purchase orders and all of those things. Even right now, 2024 is still preliminary. This report clearly represents a point in time, which was actually last Tuesday. A lot has changed in just that 1 week. Entries are still being posted and finances audit will be starting soon. At the time of the report, state aid was $20 million under 2023's actuals. And federal aid was about $11 million under 2023. Again, a lot has changed in that time. So currently, state aid has increased to just under $114 million, which is $2 million more than 2023's actuals. Federal aid has also increased a little bit, not as much. It's just over $62 million now. On the expense side, personal services have increased approximately $11 million or 7% over 2023. Benefits were approximately $9 million over 2023. It's about 10%. We had included an estimated increase for the CSEA negotiations in our 2024 budget. but we were able to absorb both those rate increases and the additional 80 hours due to the number of vacancies that we had in 2024. At this time, our focus is on reviewing and closing open purchase orders, and that will reduce our outstanding encumbrances.
Everybody?
You know what the fund balance is right now?
I do not, and it would be very preliminary. It would be clearly unaudited.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Give me some.
I don't.
300 million.
I don't have that at this time.
When will you know that?
The final number would be when the audit is complete, but,
We have,
Yeah.
preliminary audit is for Friday, so you'll have draft financials on Friday.
Okay, great. You send it to us?
we can, yes.
I think we hand deliver it to our, so Friday afternoon. Let me sign it.
Anyone else?
It's done.
Thank you very much. With that, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Then we have to go back to 2.
And everybody would come in its place.
So this didn't go to any other committee?
It did, it went through public safety and
Oh,
it did
that's right.
pass, so it will go to the floor.
Yep, that's fine then.
Cool. Okay, motion